I'd love to see a spinoff of Vicky at the Gap. The way she folds those shirts.
Uh-huh.
And I'd love to see, like, maybe she would find her purpose. Like, I don't think there was Etsy then, but maybe there was, like, eBay. Or maybe time goes on, and she's like, oh, I have all this, like, 70s nostalgic memorabilia, like her Charlie's Angels lunch pail.
Uh-huh.
And then
she sells it.
She has a really successful Etsy business.
That's the dream, I think.
Or a boutique.
Ooh. Yeah.
You know? Throw it back to the 90s. A boutique.
A boutique. Yeah, they don't have a lot of those anymore. I mean, there are still... I don't know why I'm just like boutique. Anyone listening's like, what the... Why are you saying it like that?
Into cues, booty cues.
It's just an inside joke. Sorry.
I know. We should just start singing Tempted by Squeeze. Tempted by the fruit of another. Just put my cigarette butt in someone's car as you also stare and just smile.
I love that energy.
Hey, it's Nikki.
And it's Brie.
And we're
Late to the Party.
A podcast about the film, fashion, and pop culture moments that shaped us into the weirdos that we are. And today, you've reached the winter of our discontent because we're talking about reality bites.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure
I feel like
does.
you have to say, like, reality bites.
Reality bites, man.
Yeah.
Really
Or reality bites.
Little bites of reality.
Yeah.
I know, this could be interpreted two ways.
Yes.
Yeah, I like that.
I think because this film was written by Helen Childress.
Yes.
Her idea was that it would be little bites of life. Like little like film, like you said. Like little snippets. However,
Yeah, it kind of is, but they do... Okay, well, because I remember researching this film, and I don't know if it was Ben Stiller's idea. Maybe it was the studio. Someone's idea to focus more on, like, a love story. But I don't mind.
Oh, no.
Winona Ryder and Ethan Hawke are just really charming.
they're like my favorite actors. So,
but I do wish we saw more Janine Garofalo.
yeah, Steve Zahn.
Yeah, we don't see much of him. What are his dreams?
I know. What are his dreams?
Like,
does he also work at the Gap? Where does Steve Zahn's character work?
We know nothing about him.
I
Just that
wanna
he's
know.
gay.
And he
That's
has to
it.
come out to his parents.
But I wish we knew more.
I do too. But you know what? Sometimes reality bites.
Just through the whole podcast. Just when something doesn't go one of the characters' way, or
It's reality bite. Like Lainey Pierce, Winona Ryder's character. Reality bites for her.
it does. Yeah,
Ethan Hawke. Reality bites.
it really bites.
When his dad dies. Reality bit.
Does it ever bite for Vicky though? She seems content for the most part.
For the most part. Well, no. The AIDS.
Oh yeah. Well, but then it comes out okay.
It's true.
But yeah, that part really was. Yeah,
You
that
know-
reality bit.
Yes. Reality Bites is such at this point, like a classic. And I think it's still relevant today, 30 years later, probably more than ever with a lot of the subject matter. That's the one thing, though, with Vicky's subplot.
Mm-hmm.
AIDS, thank God, isn't like a death sentence now like it was in 94.
Yeah,
We've come a long way.
we have.
Thank
It's a
God.
relief. Yeah,
But yeah, so we watched Reality Bites for the first time.
ever.
I've seen, of course, Winona Ryder as Lainey with her like super cute shaggy bob, which like Gracie Abrams is totally inspired, I feel. But or like the bob that's really big right now. But I think we have Lainey Pierce to thank.
I love Winona Ryder with short hair.
I do too. Oh, she has such like she's like the perfect little pixie. But so I've seen photos of Reality Bites. I've heard because it's like a Gen X classic. It's like one of those films when you're like, oh, what defines a generation? I feel like Gen X is defined by Reality Bites.
Yeah, that big speech in the beginning.
Yeah, I feel like that really is seminal for a lot of people.
It's the original OK Boomer.
Yeah, Winona Ryder's monologue in the beginning is totally OK Boomer, which it's so funny to think about though. That opening speech. So in Reality Bites, it opens with this really cute like montage of like Lainey filming all of her friends, and it's like post-graduation, and they're just riffing and talking, and it's like all grainy and cool, and then it's like flashes to Winona Ryder as Lainey's character giving her valedictorian speech.
Mm-hmm.
And she talks about like her parents sold out for BMWs And, it's crazy to think that generation that she's talking about that sold out were like all of these hippies that turned yuppies.
That is crazy. That's like a 180, pretty much.
And it's so, it's so like hypocritical and like crazy to think about. Like, we're enraged now by, boomers or sometimes by millennials. Don't know why Gen X is left unscathed. Maybe because of the Reality Bites monologue, I guess. But no wonder they're the forgotten generation. No one's mad at Gen X because they were the coolest. Can I just say, like, I don't know why I'm so fascinated by the 90s, just in general, but I feel like people were so much cooler in the 90s.
Yeah. All the smoking indoors. No.
Was it? Do you think it was smoking indoors?
I mean, I think it was like maybe the idea of being cool. I don't know. Maybe they just had different ideas at the time, like
the
alternative
coolest ideas.
Yeah.
Just the fashion in the 90s is immaculate. The music is the best.
It's true.
The sensibilities, they were so free.
I know. I mean, I wish I could just go on a hot tub time machine to the 90s.
I know. I just want to like perpetually live in the 90s.
Yeah.
I want to be Winona Ryder in the 90s. Is that so much to ask? But what's the point? Oh, it's crazy to think about the monologue that she's talking about because you're right. It was just the generational divide was real.
It was. Yeah.
Yeah. What did you think of that opening scene?
I just remember thinking, like, that makes a lot of sense. Like, I feel like that could be said today. Like, you could say the same speech today and just not change anything.
Have we just been selling out since the beginning of time, though? Because you said you could say that about the boomers in the 90s. You can say that now. I'm sure people can say it. People are going to totally say it about our generation because selling out's not a thing anymore. Like, we volunteer ourselves to sell out.
That's true. We do. We sell out a lot now.
That thought in the 90s of like, damn the man, save the empire.
Oh my gosh,
totally lost.
All the Empire Records.
Yeah. A comfort movie, Reality Bites is my new comfort movie as well.
That'd be a good like double feature just to watch together,
Oh my gosh, yes.
The idea of Damn the Man.
Big style inspo from both Liv Tyler and Winona Ryder. Renee Zellweger's in both.
She is, yeah.
Yeah. Renee Zellweger is like
the booty call.
Yeah.
Oh. What were we saying? Selling out? Like,
yeah. What does it mean to sell out to you?
To me, I think it would be like doing something inauthentic. But I feel like people do this all the time, like just do something for a paycheck. But maybe some people don't have a problem with it. It just depends. It's like if you're endorsing something that you don't believe in, maybe that's selling out, Yeah. I don't know if just endorsing a product and necessarily is selling out if you believe in it, or you know what I mean? But I think, yeah. Because I feel like we're at a point where we're so used to selling out, and that idea of selling out is not, I don't know if it's necessarily bad. Like, it's not so black and white, I think. And then like the internet just, we can't go backwards in time. We kind of we're almost forced to sell out. Nowadays,
you are almost forced to sell out. It's so crazy because I totally understand it from our point of view of being like, oh, well, you have to get your name out there. Like, no one's going to come and save you. Like, the system is set up in such a different way where in order to make money doing a creative pursuit, nowadays it almost seems like you have to sell yourself out. Everybody's a brand.
Yeah.
Like, not to harp on it again, but I went to acting school.
Harp on it, Nick.
Okay.
Harp on it all you want.
Well, I went to acting school, and even, nowadays you are very aware if you're a creative person, you have to sell out. You are a brand. And a person being a brand, I think just you inherently are selling out because you are selling yourself. If you are a brand as a person, as an actor, as a creative person, you've sold out.
That's true.
You kind of already lost the plot.
No, I mean,
yeah, you're no longer a person. You're a product, and you think of yourself or your manager or your agent or other people think of you as a product. Even just regular people that we follow on Instagram that are content creators. They're content creators because they've for better or for worse, made themselves a product. Like their lifestyle content is
As a product?
a product.
Yeah. Is it selling out though?
In one way.
Yeah.
But is that bad?
See, I don't
Inherently
know.
no.
Yeah.
Or inherently yes.
Maybe it depends on your goals as well. Like,
what is the goal now though? Because to play devil's advocate, you want people to see your work. You want to share things.
That's true.
Why not get paid for it? Why not have more people see it? You can't just gatekeep your work.
That's true. And nothing's wrong, I think, with getting paid.
No, but nothing's right either.
Yeah.
I think it's like a weird moral gray area.
It is.
But I mean, I kind of agree with you. Like, as a self-proclaimed 90s anthropologist, like, my mind is always like, oh, yeah, like the Kurt Cobain thing about,
I think of him, yeah.
Yeah, it's like you want people to know your music, to love your music. You want to be famous to some degree, or at least known, well-known. You want to be regarded. But also that thing about selling out in your integrity and your soul and your work that just gets cheapened. And who would want to do that? Like, damn the man.
Right. Yeah.
No, yeah. No one's going to come and save you. Like, even all these creators that have sold out, these people that are brands, like, what do you get out of that at the end of the day?
Money. No, I don't know.
But you have to do something for you because you're going to be chewed up and spit out anyway. So why not have some integrity?
I agree. Well, sometimes I wonder if certain people even do get paid, or like, you know, like you see, like, I don't know if you've ever been harassed on Instagram by brand deals, and but it's like they give you a percentage off on the clothing, but you still have to wear it or something. And you know what I'm talking about?
Okay. I know exactly what you're talking about because I won't name names. But I purchased a shirt last night.
No way.
Yeah, way.
You sold out? No.
No. I mean, yes, I saw it on Instagram. I didn't go to the not Instagram. I saw it on TikTok.
Okay.
I didn't go through the TikTok shop because that's sus.
I don't trust it.
I went through their website, but yes, I did see it on TikTok and I got inspired and I wanted to buy it. As you do.
As you do.
I bought the shirt. I get this email that says, okay, great. Thank you for buying our shirt. Just so you know, if you create a TikTok, we will give you 10% off. And if you create like 2 more TikToks, or you get so many views, I don't know, something, I forget what exactly it was. But the moral of the story, they were like, oh, if you create these TikToks with wearing this shirt, we will send you more shirts so you can create more TikToks.
And now you're a slave to their, like, so I don't know.
I guess. I mean, if I start, I haven't gotten the shirt yet, so who's to say?
Nikki, all of a sudden I get you making all these TikToks.
All of a sudden.
Oh. Well, I mean, I think if you're selling out, you got to think about what you get out of it, you know, because that is your time and energy as well.
Yeah.
And I don't know.
But is it also just being like corny?
Selling out is corny, or like
or like people are okay with selling out unless you're corny. Like a big argument back in the day was when Bob Dylan, because he was Mr. Tambourine Man. He went from always being with his acoustic guitar and harmonica, and he switched it up with an electric guitar on one album. Yeah, people said he was a sellout. Now, really, when he sold out was when he was on the Victoria's Secret show and performed, because that's corny as fuck.
Victoria's Secret? Bob Dylan?
Yeah.
On the Victoria's Secret show? What?
Yeah.
So
like, where's the line? Like, no one was really... I think nowadays no one's mad at you for selling out in general, but...
I don't think so, but I do... Yeah, it's interesting. Man, hold on. What is that one... Oh, Empire of the Sun. You know that song, Walking on a Dream? I remember seeing it in like a car commercial years ago and thinking, oh my God, they sold out. But now I'm thinking of it as like, oh, well, I mean, I love their music. Maybe more people will love their music now, just in front of a different audience. I mean, I know it's a commercial, but sometimes I discover songs just hearing a snippet of it. You know what I mean? Like,
well, like A-Punk back in the day, Vampire Weekend, that was on a car commercial.
Yeah.
Oh, what else? I remember it's like a joke on Gilmore Girls that Nick Drake song was in a car commercial like back in the day. And that got a lot of a lot of like hate and a lot of like, oh my God, selling out. But I think it's also different. It's like if they played like Joni Mitchell Big Yellow Taxi in like a Subaru Impreza like 0 carbon emissions electric vehicle, you know?
Yeah.
Like that's because that's corny.
It is.
But,
yeah. Maybe we're also desensitized to ads.
Maybe
back in the day ads were like a thing, but not as many. And now we have so many that we're just like, oh yeah, of course there's an ad. Oh yeah, of course there's music with it. Like, what's the big deal?
Yeah, but like hearing Nick Drake on that car commercial back in the 90s, I'm sure like took people back.
Yeah.
Because like Nick Drake meant something else. That would be like hearing, like Joni Mitchell or something in a car commercial. That's whatever. But if Empire of the Sun and if Vampire Weekend are doing it, we're like, oh, they're indie pop anyways. Like that's kind of, but that's like us being gatekeepy.
Yeah.
That's the side of selling out that's a little gatekeepy because it's not their morals. It's not like Nirvana in a car commercial where they've had this staunch stance on not selling out.
That's true. Yeah. That's a good point because they're just an indie band. They're not like, I know what you're saying. Yeah, Nirvana was very set on like, we're never gonna. Didn't they say something like we're never gonna sell out?
Yeah, that's just like they were like we have integrity, grunge. Yeah,
yeah. That was the whole idea, I think, right?
Yeah,
or one of the ideas.
One of them, but yeah, that's like it's a fine line.
It's true.
I don't know. What are your thoughts on selling out, just in general?
I think nowadays a lot of people try to sell out.
Yeah.
Look for ways. Anyway.
Well, we're almost taught that. Mm-hmm. And I think selling
the influencer culture, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah, because now it seems like it's in our blood almost.
It's in our blood to sell out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know, it's crazy. You know what else is crazy?
What?
It's like, it's so interesting to me that Reality Bites is a movie that I think is across generations so relatable and relevant. And just speaks about being in your 20s, like so deeply. Mm-hmm. But it's also like a seminal movie, like we were talking about for Gen X. Do we have any films that are like, like in the 80s they had, like the Brat Pack films that like
Breakfast Club.
That was like a generation, or Fast Times at Richmond High. That's like a generational film.
I'm thinking.
Yeah, what defines our generation?
A film that defines our generation.
Dang. It's funny. I'm like, The Fault in Our Stars.
That's close. I think that would be closer.
Yeah.
It might be the closest, even though no one really... I mean, I feel like that movie... Maybe I've just forgotten about it, but I feel like it's been forgotten about in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
But I remember like when it came out, I'm like, oh, this makes a lot of sense. Like this is a lot of things that I'm... Well, man, I don't know, actually, that if I was feeling them, but...
No, but...
Now that I think about it, I don't know if...
yeah.
But I knew what it was going for. And I love how we just like look to the movie collection. Crossroads.
But like our generation, what's like our like in the we're like our movie for in our 20s.
Yeah, I'm like, do we have?
I don't know if we have one.
Do we have one?
I'm like Lady Bird, but that's not like a group of.
It's just like
kids.
One girl.
Yeah. We weren't given the goods. I feel like they've really...
Oh, gosh. Yeah, I was going to say Juno. Perks of Being a Wallflower does come up. Pretty... Huh. There's a lot of things in the 80s.
So many things.
What happened? Like, why don't we get movies? I think, watching a lot of movies lately for the podcast, it's made me feel like, seen as a younger person, Because...
Yeah.
Just seeing young people go through it.
Yeah.
I think we were robbed.
It's so interesting. I just like Reddited it, and she's a young millennial like us, but she says Gen Z's Mean Girls is Mean Girls. Breakfast Club is Breakfast Club, which I think is true. I think that's why I might have been like, oh, my 20s, like Reality Bites, because Reality Bites is Reality Bites. I think we're in such a post-internet culture where it's like, we've pretty much all of our lives, we've had access to all of the touchstones. That's why
true.
there's no excuse for people our age or younger not to know the classics, because you have a wealth of knowledge because of the internet at all times and have at all times.
That's true. Yeah, you can just go find out.
So maybe we haven't had to ever in our life go to the movies and like be like, this is our movie. Like we haven't had to go to Can't Hardly Wait and be like, this is us.
Yeah. Yeah, what did we have? Twilight?
Twilight, yeah. Pitch Perfect is one of them.
Pitch Perfect.
God, I would
But that's
hope
not that relatable. Like, I can't, you know what I mean? I'm not in a singing troupe.
No, I feel like that was relatable for me, but in none of the good ones.
That's wild. But yeah, I think like you're saying, like certain, like the touchstones, you can watch those movies and it can relate at any point. Like there's something universal about movies about like teens or young adults. Like they touch on something. Like maybe it's because in that time of your life, you're, especially in your 20s, you're like figuring yourself out.
Yeah.
You know? So maybe it's just like universal things that it doesn't really matter when it was made, especially this movie. Like,
yeah,
a lot of it's relevant. Like sometimes, some days I feel like, is it Lilani?
Yeah, Lainey.
Why do I want to call her? Why do I want to add it?
Layla. No. No. Ah.
Lainey. I think I did this last time too.
Lilana.
It is. Okay, I knew there was more.
Oh, you know what though? Sorry, to circle back to like
myself. Yeah.
Our generation's movies. We're not going to know that yet. We're not going to know it yet.
Until later.
We're not going to know it until, because we're actually talking like core elder millennial movies that would define it. We're not going to know until we see like if Booksmart stands a test of time, or if people.
Bottoms.
That's what I was going to say.
Really?
Yeah, like because those are people exactly our age.
Booksmart did cross my mind.
Mm-hmm.
Just saying.
Because it's going to have to be the sensibilities. Like as bodies is going to be something that cements our age group.
Maybe.
You know, 20 years from now.
You're right. I mean, when Breakfast Club came out in the 80s, like I'm sure they weren't like, maybe they didn't know, oh my God, this is going to be like, look back as like the movie of our generation kind of thing.
Yeah.
I guess time will tell.
Time will tell. And I think also like the movies like a Juno and an Easy A, like those real core like elder millennial like movies.
Mm-hmm.
I think the one quality of like most millennials, which I know we are technically young millennials, but we're such on the cusp. It's kind of weird to.
I know what you mean. Millennials also are. It's a big. It's like a. Isn't it one of the biggest generations? Like as far as like time spanning.
Like, how can you be in your late 20s and relate to a 42-year-old is beyond me.
Yeah, I don't know.
But you know those like Mean Girls, Juno, Easy A, those movies are so wrapped in irony. In a way, because that's a generational quality that it's just so easy to cement those, or like a Superbad as like, oh, these are the equivalents for like elder millennials. Like in real time, they were carving out the classics of like, this is what's going to define our generation. And I think we're at an interesting point where people our age are creating things that might be the classics, but we're not going to know.
Yeah, they might still be
20 years.
Like, yeah, they might be in progress right now.
Yeah,
we don't know.
And that's exciting.
Yeah,
I don't know. You could make something right now that could define a whole entire generation. You know,
that is exciting. Yeah,
who's to say?
We'll just be surprised, I guess.
Yeah. Watch it be Bottoms that defines our generation. Like we're gonna look back in 30 years, like Gen X on Reality Bites, and be like, "Remember Bottoms."
It said so much about our generation.
Remember when those young girls had a female fight club?
It was so powerful.
You guys don't understand. And they're like, okay, boomer. Oh, they're still calling us okay, boomer, even though we're like 3 generations past.
Yeah, at a certain point, they'll be boomers, I guess.
Yeah.
That's just how it will be. But I loved Bottoms, though, just saying. It was
same.
Yeah, I will regard it highly. Looking back.
Same.
You know?
Maybe Io Debris' monologue's going to be like...
It's going to hit like Winona's monologue in Reality Bites.
Yeah. The psychobabble.
Oh.
our kids or our, friends' kids are going to be like, man, you guys were lame. Let's watch Mean Girls.
Oh,
you guys had neuroses. You guys were like Ben Stiller in Reality Bites.
Oh my God. I love Ben Stiller's character though. I think because of his neuroses, like it's funny. Like I feel like I'm so used to Ben Stiller like as like Zoolander or something, or being like super silly.
Meet the Parents.
Like he's just over the top a lot. And in this movie, he's kind of, I feel like, playing it cool. Like just,
it's so crazy to think about Ben Stiller being young.
It is. I think he's kind of cute.
I think so too. He means. Sorry. That was the Lord saying, you're an Ethan Hawke girl. You don't play devil's advocate.
I know. That's not what you said last time.
It's also not what I mean. I'm trying to I did have a lot more sympathy for Michael's Ben Stiller's character.
Yeah.
I have so much more sympathy for him. I do think he is the better person. But I don't think he's the better person for Lainey.
Yeah. No. I mean, yeah. It's hard not to ship her and Ethan Hawke's character. What is his name?
Troy Dyer.
Troy. That's right. What an iconic name. Maybe High School Musical. Will that be the...
That's going to that and Camp Rock.
Yeah, that defined our generation for sure.
I think so. If you say Camp Rock and someone's ears perk up, you know that they're like born between the years like 1993 and 2000.
You just know.
Yeah.
Powerful stuff in that movie too.
Truly. It's all about teamwork, I think. What is Camp Rock about?
I don't know. I just remember
the Jonas Brothers?
I just remember that one girl that was like a DJ just doing that dance.
Oh,
or
yeah.
She was like, I'm a play my set, and it was just like a mess. I don't know.
Oh my God. This is like a tangent. Remember that movie that you were talking about with the Debbie Ryan face? That's like the meme where she's like she's in the crowd and she like has this like weird look on her face.
Wait, hold on. Debbie Ryan?
I think from like Sweet Life on Deck. But it's from this movie. Someone's in that movie. Oh, you know who is the like co-star in that movie?
Debbie Ryan. Oh, yeah. Oh, who?
Albie from The White Lotus. He's in that movie that meme is from.
And the movie, I'm like, wait, what is this movie? What movie
You've
was
seen
that?
the meme.
I've seen the meme, but I don't know if I've seen the movie.
I've not seen the movie.
I know the meme you're talking about. That's just the one that wants to go to Disney and make history.
Oh, no, not that meme, but that's a good Debbie Ryan meme. Poor girl. That I only know of her really from like Sweet Life and memes.
Same.
Oh, you've seen this meme.
Oh, wait. No, okay. Seeing, yeah, the video, I think I have seen it, and for some reason, like in a picture, it doesn't hit the same. You know what I mean? Yeah. You need that motion where she tucks, like you were just doing.
What's yours?
Yeah. I don't know. She kind of makes like a weird face with her, like.
You're so cool doing it. Yeah.
Me? That's cool. Sticking my teeth out.
Oh, I just wanted to tell you that.
That Albie and her in the same movie.
Yeah, because it was recommended to me on my television, my Google TV.
It must be a Disney movie, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
They look very Disney there.
Very. That was when I was like, oh, Disney's lost the plot. After Camp Rock 2, you can't go back, you know?
No, you can't. You can't recreate that magic.
Truly.
Don't get it twisted. Wait, what is it? Don't get emotional. It's the truth.
I'm too cool for you.
Yeah.
You think you're hot?
I'm sorry you're not. Anyway.
Let's get into this movie.
I know, right? Let's get into the movie.
So, Reality Bites follows Leilana Pierce, played by Winona Ryder, a recent grad who aspires to be a filmmaker, who's creating a documentary about her friends and their disenfranchised post-collegiate lives. It's written by Helen Childress and directed by Ben Stiller in his directorial debut.
That is wild that he directed this.
It is. It's so wild that it's like Ben Stiller, director of Reality Bites and Tropic Thunder. It's like he had the duality of Ben Stiller, man.
I know. Who knew?
I
didn't.
I didn't. I guess Gen X would know because they are the last cool generation. But yeah, so let's talk about this cast because I want to hang out with all of them in the maxi pad.
Oh, yeah. That seems like fun.
Oh my
I love that they
gosh.
call it the maxi pad too.
I do too. But we got Winona.
Mm-hmm.
We got Janine. We got Ethan. We got Steve Zahn.
Yes.
We got Ben Stiller.
We've got it all.
Like star-studded. I say that every time we do a movie.
I know.
Star-studded
cast. But it's true though. There's so many movies where it's like, I mean, when the cast is like stacked like that, there's a better chance that the movie's just going to be really good.
Truly. And this cast especially, it's like actors, and like the epitome of 90s cool.
I was going to say like the time, like it's really cool to see these specific actors all working together in this, like this movie. I think it's kind of special because, you know, they're all like so young. I don't know. When I think of a lot of these actors, like Ethan Hawke, for example, I don't really think of young Ethan Hawke too much because that's not, you know, most of the stuff I've seen.
Yeah.
He's, you know, older, just like more like in real time.
Yeah. And I mean, even the Before trilogy, like he's like fully like man.
Yeah, he is.
I think maybe not the first one. I think my mind goes to like,
oh, okay,
the like later.
Yeah.
When they're older.
That makes sense. I just saw the first one, so I'm like, that's where my mind is. And I'm like, oh, he's such a baby.
And see, my mind goes to like the last, what is it? The Before, After Midnight? No, what is it one? What's that one?
The last one or the first one?
The last one.
I think you're right. I think it's Before Midnight.
Before Midnight. But yeah, that's where my mind goes to like already like Maya Hawke's daddy, Ethan Hawke.
Yeah. But I think he was like adorable. Young Ethan Hawke is adorable.
Yes. I feel like I'm such a laney. Like I would risk it all for Ethan Hawke, like a young Ethan Hawke.
Mm.
No matter how cruel he was to me, I'd come back for more.
Really?
Like I totally get it. Because also young Ethan Hawke looks like Jeff Buckley, who's like my number one like man.
He does, and he's playing guitar.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
very Jeff Buckley coded. But just that whole idea too of like the mysterious dude with kind of like longish, slightly stringy hair who loves poetry and loves like blues. He's like well read. He loves literature.
He's intelligent.
Yes.
He
He's
is
spontaneous.
He has a stone cold stare.
Mm-hmm. He doesn't follow like societal norms to a T.
Yeah. That part's kind of hot, actually.
He's like a feminist, but not really, but kind of. He'll say it. He'll wear a wife beater, you know?
He will.
Mm-hmm.
That's so true.
He'll be in a band called Hey, That's My Bike.
I love that. That's like a great name for a band.
It is.
Yeah.
This is like this movie you were talking about, it's like a special time for these young actors. And it's also like a generational defining film. It does remind me of my favorite film, Empire Records.
Yeah.
In the way that it's so cool to see these like actors that we've known our whole lives, like mainstays. They've gone on to do this, that, or the other, but seeing them like so fresh and so like both these films, the goal is to be as real as possible.
Mm-hmm.
Especially Reality Bites is very effective in that, but it is so fun to just see like where it all began.
Yeah.
But also there's something about these two films that are very vulnerable in a weird way, like seeing these actors being thrust into a motion picture wherever they came from, or like not at all, they just started like they literally haven't been in a film before, and just seeing them have to like they like off to the races.
I
It's
love
interesting.
Yeah, it's inspirational. I think
so too.
And they're playing like these stripped down characters, like very real to life. So it just hits different. I think
so too. I don't know why though.
Maybe because we're used to seeing them in these like larger roles or like more character-y kind of, you know what I mean? Like more of a character that's acting.
It's true.
You know?
Speaking of the cast.
Yes.
So we were talking about Ethan Hawke. Ethan Hawke, still can get it.
He can, yeah.
But you put me on to, there's this backstage interview with Ethan Hawke.
It's so good.
It's like beyond good. I've listened to it 3 times already in the past 24 hours.
I know. I knew you would love it. I mean, he has really good life advice, I think. Like, I mean, he's giving acting advice because it's backstage, obviously, but I feel like a lot of things that he says can just be applied to anything, really, any creative endeavor or just life, just how you think of yourself. I don't know. Letting go of ego.
It's about committing 100%.
Yeah.
I mean, I really responded to that interview with him talking about
because you watched it every day.
Because I have watched it every day. It's kind of like my mantra in my head now, but I just highly recommend everyone checks it out. Like, no matter what I could say about it, it's just not as good as hearing the conversation.
Same. I know I struggled trying to articulate it to you the other day. I'm like, you just gotta listen because he has so many nuggets.
It's just
wisdom.
I really vibe with Ethan Hawke and just his ethos and just the way he thinks about acting and the world at large. And I think it's really important what he talks about because it's not really schmaltzy actor advice. Like, he doesn't also claim to know it all.
Yeah.
But just from his point of view, it's super interesting. Just highly recommend. But
yeah, he is very humble. Like, it's refreshing, you know?
Definitely. I mean, and you can tell that he loves acting. Mm-hmm. Like, he's an actor's actor.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like, have you seen he recently did a Criterion Closet with Maya Hawke?
Oh, is it where like it's like how well do they know each other or something? Or no, is that
Well, they're in the closet. They're picking out movies in one video. But in another, their Letterboxd does one where they're talking about like their 5 favorite films.
Ooh, okay.
But it just seems, his relationship with Maya seems very similar to the relationship with my dad in the way that it's always like, have you seen this film? Or have you checked out this musician or this book? Or yada, yada. And I'd love to see that dynamic between a father and daughter, for one. But also just Ethan Hawke's wealth of knowledge. He'll talk about Shakespeare. He'll talk about, this really heady, like, art house film. And then he'll be like, and A Bug's Life.
A Bug's Life.
What it do. Yeah.
I like it. I like that he doesn't take himself too seriously. It's really cool.
Yeah. I mean, his filmography is all over the place, too. In the best way.
I know. I honestly didn't know a whole lot about Ethan Hawke. I don't even think I've seen that many movies with him in it. But I've seen him like around, like I've just seen him in things.
Yeah.
But yeah. I mean, I watched Chelsea Walls. That was something. It was a little more like artsy than I even expected. I know he'd like it was like his first like his directorial debut. I mean, he doesn't do a lot of directing, but he dabbles, right? And he writes sometimes. Like, he's in that podcast too. He talks about that kind of basically like doing things within that realm, like I guess it's like you would do as an actor, like writing, directing, like just getting involved in all sorts of stuff to keep different perspectives. I don't know. I can't. Yeah. I feel like I'm butchering what he said.
Yeah. Well, I couldn't describe it either, but it's like keeping the wheels turning. What really struck me from that backstage interview was when he talks about, like, the interviewer is basically saying, I know I'm going to butcher it too, but like he's basically saying, like, as an actor, in today's landscape, kind of like we were talking about before, what do you have to just rely on yourself? Do you have to be a multi-hyphenate? Do you have to write all the time? Do you have to direct? Do you have to, be the producer? Do you have to do it all? And he's basically like, no, not really, but you should have like your gears turning at all times. So, I think as an actor, there's at least for me personally, but I've heard it from other people, there's a lot of lull. You're constantly auditioning, but like you're not always doing a project. And as long as like Hugh, for example, was like, just pick up a play and just, start a monologue. Just do a monologue and practice it a couple days and see how much better you get. And it kind of works that muscle.
Right.
Just for the heck of it. Or just write something. Just for the heck of it, because it gets those gears turning and then you're ready. and you're not having to like get ready because it as an actor, it's like a lot of hurry
Staying
up and
in
wait
tune with the flow.
You gotta stay in tune with the flow.
Yeah, that makes total sense.
So
yeah,
Chelsea Walls does seem like he's just trying to stay in tune with the flow. I did enjoy it, but it seems like that.
It does. There's also a lot going on. I think I'm not used to like, and my attention span can be split a lot, but I thought it was going to be a lot closer to Reality Bites because the premise is like if you just read the synopsis or whatever, it's like, oh yeah, young 20-somethings or, well, you know, people of all ages really living in the Chelsea Hotel, creatives though. And so I'm thinking, oh, it's going to be like, you know, how Winona Ryder and Ethan Hawke are in Reality Bites. There's going to be some of that dynamic. Maybe it'll be a fun, like, Janine Garofalo kind of person, but it's a little deeper. It's a little more, I don't know if it's not super serious, but it's definitely a little, it's just different. I don't know how to describe it. And like the way all the sounds are layered, like you could be hearing one thing and then you're actually seeing something else. Like you're seeing the scene of two people, but you're also listening to this lady singing jazz at the jazz club that we just saw the scene of, but it's still continuously playing in the background. So it's like, I don't know if it's just trying to say all of this is happening at once in the Chelsea Hotel, and then there's all the layering of the colors. So, I mean, they're going for something, which I think is cool. I kind of want to watch it again in a different, you know, maybe in a different mindset. Because I know it didn't get a lot of people didn't really respond well to it, but Ebert said he liked it, but only the second time around. He said after coffee, he was like, you got to watch it. You got to have like a certain like mindset.
Yeah.
I'm like,
there are certain films that you have to get in the right mindset for. That's not a bad thing though.
No.
It's not a Reality Bites, but that's okay.
No, but it's cool that he did that. It's cool. You know,
it's really cool. It's cool that he's just willing to try things.
Yeah. It inspires me.
Even now. Yeah. I mean, like, in 2022, I saw The Northman. He's in. He's great. But it's like a Robert Eggers film. Very Robert Eggers-y. You know?
Yeah.
And same year, The Black Phone.
Right. Yeah.
Where he's like a super psychotic, terrifying child napper.
Ooh. Wait. Oh, he's the bad guy. Okay.
He's the bad guy. And it's just fun to see him play around even now. So he's always just playing around.
That's true. Like,
it's crazy to think, you know, he's in the Before trilogy, but he's also doing Hamlet. He's also doing Chelsea Walls. You know, it's just whatever, you know, and that's
the way to be.
Yeah.
I think. Get your hands and everything.
You know what I thought was really interesting that Ethan Hawke said in that interview?
What?
That basically at a certain point in his career, you know, post Reality Bites, if someone brought him in for an audition, he knew he wasn't going to get it. But the idea that see, I'm gonna butcher too. I know I just want to talk.
It's hard to put it into words. I know. I tried to take notes on what he was saying,
but basically, the way he framed auditioning, which is the worst part about being an actor, and also the best part, he was basically like, if you're brought into an audition at a certain point in your career, it's to do something that you haven't done before. It's they want to see like
what else you
can do
because they think of you as a certain type cast for a role. Maybe
it's like he's very self-aware.
He is. I love that. I love hearing his stories too. Like, it's just refreshing if he tells a story about how he embarrassed himself in front of like a director that he was like
in front of Robert Redford.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, that's human. Like, that's. I don't know. We can all relate to like a situation like that.
He also suggests watching your favorite actor in all of their films and realize, you know, like look at their flops.
Look at their flops.
Look at the movies that they're bad in. And look at the movies that they're good in. And, you know, he compares like Daniel Day-Lewis in Gangs of New York. And he's like, you know, he's got Martin Scorsese. He's got this, and this. He has so many things working in his favor that just help lift him up as an actor. But sometimes you don't always get that, and you have to like put it into perspective.
Yeah. No, he did make a good point about like opportunities that like, even if you don't have them, just staying busy and I don't know. I forget what else. He said so much.
Being okay to fail.
Being okay to fail. Yeah.
And like failure makes you a better person and success makes you a better asshole.
Yes, that's exactly that. Yep. That makes sense though. I feel like people get really cocky when they're too successful, or just
Totally.
yeah.
Well, talking about the actor's process, or Ethan Hawke's actor's process, makes me think about Winona Ryder as Lainey Pierce.
How so?
Just watching Reality Bites, it makes me, well, the context of where Winona Ryder is in her career, I think is very fascinating. So she's just getting off of like Little Women and Bram Stoker's Dracula, and she's done a lot of like period pieces, which is crazy because I think Winona Ryder really shines as a everyday
like a
person,
modern girl.
Yeah. Like she chooses this film basically because she can wear jeans and t-shirts and it's crazy because Winona Ryder as Lainey does the biggest actor's feat in my opinion. She's a real person. Down to every micro expression. She's fully connected in the scene to Ethan Hawke at all times, or whoever she's talking to. There's no sense of I'm acting. Like she is super present in this film.
Yeah.
As a regular person, and she's bought in, and you can tell she's like feeling these feelings and really channeling something.
Definitely.
And that blew me away because like if you can be a great actor in Reality Bites, you can be a great actor in, anything. I'm not that Reality Bites is a great film, though. That's not, I guess, I don't know what I'm trying to say about that because Reality Bites is really good. It's just not it's not like a super heady film. So.
No, but is it like just also seeing I mean, even though this was earlier on in her career, she was still at the time, on a pretty good career high.
Yeah.
So a lot of people knew her abilities, but I think it is hard to be like a regular person sometimes. You almost have to dial a lot back and to let some vulnerability show. Mm-hmm. It's just very believable. I mean, all these actors are very believable, honestly.
Very human.
Yeah.
And can I just say Janine Garofalo is the glue of every 90s film she's in.
I love when she pops up and it's just like sassy and telling it like it is and just giving a dose of reality to a situation.
A little reality bite.
Yeah. But yeah. Apparently she almost got kicked off the project.
Why?
But I guess because she didn't want to she hates rehearsing. She was making a big stink or something.
Relatable.
But Winona said no. If she goes, I go.
Good.
Yeah.
Little Lord Charlie XCX. So a big topic in this film is pretty much all of the characters either have an aversion to day jobs or just like a complex.
Relatable.
About being in the real world. I know.
I feel seen.
Brie, I've had an aversion to every day job I've had.
Same. Every single one. I'm always like, oh, this is not going to last very long. Mm-hmm. I'm going to be out of here. It's almost like outwardly maybe looking kind of like Vicky, but on the inside being Lainey or something.
I've totally been Lainey though. I mean, even at my current job.
Yeah.
I will be like researching for the podcast like Lainey is at the daytime talk show where John Mahoney's the host.
Oh, right.
Just
she's
like
cutting her own stuff. That's right.
Yeah.
I do love that energy. Yeah.
I have no shame in it. Just like Lainey should have no shame. She's just a modern woman.
Right.
Doing what she's got to do.
Amen.
Being ungrateful for her opportunities. Very bratty.
But they all have like an aversion to their day jobs.
100%. Except Vicky.
She's like, I'm climbing that ladder.
She sipped that Gap Kool-Aid.
Yeah.
Which, can I just say, if you become a store manager, or like a retail store manager, and you have dreams,
don't do it.
It's a trap. You've already lost.
You've given up your dreams. Yeah.
Or you have to claw your way out super hard. But yeah, it's the biggest trap. It's the biggest scam.
It is. Unless her dream is to just maybe not own the Gap, but maybe Gap hit different in the 90s. Maybe it's something about the Gap specifically.
All those commercials where they were doing jazz.
The Gap propaganda. Yeah.
The Feelin' Mellow Yellow.
Yeah,
chinos.
Yeah, maybe that was her dream. And because I don't remember her saying like what she wanted to do. Like if she had like a creative passion.
And maybe she doesn't. That's also, I think,
Maybe.
a very Gen X thing. I think nowadays we're really taught, it's really hammered home that you're not anyone unless you're really either putting yourself out online or doing something more than working at the Gap. I feel like if you're just like in the Generation X, like just remember like pre-internet. I mean, not remember like actually.
Yeah, I don't.
No, but like all the movies that we've seen of like people were just people.
Oh. Yeah.
And just like vibing, like no one really cared.
So hard to imagine.
Yeah, I know.
But yeah, no, that sounds nice. Like, yeah.
Maybe she was just content.
Maybe she was. Yeah. That's kind of cool in a way.
I mean, what other job would she have except opening up a rad boutique?
Yeah, I think that would be her job. She had some serious style, so.
Like she was wearing like proper like Little Orphan Annie dresses with like the Peter Pan collar.
I love the glasses that she'd wear as well.
Yes. Oh, the platforms.
Yeah.
She's very ModCloth coated.
She has. Maybe that's what she did. She invented ModCloth.
Oh my gosh, yes. She had a really successful. She's like the original girl boss, Sophia Amoruso. Like she realized.
Yes.
Like she was like selling stuff on eBay in the late 90s. This is the spinoff idea.
Oh my God. I love this because she wasn't even trying to get big or anything. Like it just happened. People were buying the thing. Wasn't she just like trying to make money? She's going broke and just had to get rid of things.
Working at Subway.
Yeah.
She had to get scrappy.
I could see Vicky getting scrappy.
The girl bossification of Janine Garofalo's character in Reality Bites.
Yeah. Where's our spinoff?
I could watch Janine Garofalo though riff on folding a shirt at the Gap.
Same. I just like seeing her riff in general. Like I feel like anytime she's in a movie, she's not on screen like long enough for me. But maybe that's part of it, is she leaves you wanting more.
Truly.
She'll just show up, smoke a cigarette, say some things.
She'll slay. She'll like burn the house down.
She'll burn the house down. She'll say something that'll really hit you to your core.
Leave you wanting more.
Yeah.
Love it. Speaking of Vicky, it's so fascinating, especially with Vicky. And yeah, we don't know any of her backstory. That's okay. We just don't know anything. So now we have to create
we'll create one.
Our girl boss narrative for her. But all core four of these characters, they use nostalgia to cope.
They do. You're right. They watch a lot of 70s TV, right?
They're always watching either Good Times or referencing Mr. Roper. But especially Vicky, she is always talking about the 70s, and like her whole room it's kind of like your room.
I was gonna say, I feel like as soon as you said that, like just think like her room is like the 70s. I'm like, wait a minute. What is it about like wanting to create a space that is like in a different time, Yeah. Is that just something we crave? Like how we crave the 90s. 90s kids were craving the 70s. We're 70s
2000s kids are like craving it in 2024.
Yeah. That is interesting. I never thought we would crave the 2000s, maybe because we were still kids, but there was like a sense of like, well, all this technology is going to be obsolete and it's done. Like this time is over, right?
What do you mean?
I don't know, like iPods and.
Oh, I thought we were like, maybe because I didn't know any better. I was like, oh yeah, this is the future. I just like lucked out.
Yeah.
2000s kids.
Well, I thought I did too, but like, and then you grow up and then it's like, oh no, and like it's just thrown out. Like we have, you know what I mean? Like just seeing things change so rapidly. I don't know what my point was. Just.
Who knew it would be a relic?
I just didn't know it would come back. Yeah, I didn't know.
Kids today are like buying refurbished iPods off of Urban Outfitters.
That's crazy. I know what my thought was. I feel like we were too quick to trash that stuff.
Yeah.
And now we can't go back, but maybe it's because of the internet or like phones. Maybe the iPhone changed everything.
Maybe. It's so crazy though, like that, like the first iPhone, just how different all of that is and how like nostalgic. Like I remember as a kid, like not as a kid, but maybe like a teen, early teen, being like, look at my iPod Touch.
Uh-huh.
And now if I looked at an iPod Touch, I'd be like, wow, that's such a janky, like obsolete item.
I mean, if you rewatch Girls, like we started to.
Oh my God.
That iPod or iPhone.
It was an iPhone.
It was an iPhone. You could tell like when you go to the messages, like the style of the text and then the style of the home screen. It like I was like, oh wait, it did look like this, didn't it? I totally forgot. Like
yeah, like I think you are right about we were so quick to just like throw things out from our youth.
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny though because it's like it is like a blind spot. Like I don't know if this is a 2000s kid thing of like people really like to talk about McBling or like Y2K aesthetic and like flip phones. But like all that stuff in between, it's just like not in our memory yet. Maybe we will circle back and get nostalgic for it.
Yeah.
But I feel like people are super nostalgic for the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
But that like chunk of like 2000s, early 2010s, that really like is our core memories isn't there yet.
No. But you think it will be?
It has to, right?
Yeah.
I mean, if people are buying like refurbished iPods on Urban Outfitters right now.
True. I like that idea. I just don't know. The more I think about it, the more I'm like, you know what? Maybe Spotify is worth it because you just have access to so much more. It's really hard to go back.
But you don't own it.
No.
But also, what does that matter?
Yeah.
What, you really have to own a CD?
Yeah.
Like, you really have to own the 1975 album or the Taylor Swift album? You really?
Really?
Really? You have to?
I say as I hoard a bunch of like CDs and vinyl records.
That's true. I think vinyl's cool, though, because it could be an art piece.
Yeah. That's true. That's far enough behind us.
That's true.
Yeah.
Well, because, like, Vicky, to circle back to the...
Right, circling back.
The movie, she's nostalgic for the 70s. Like we're talking about, we're nostalgic for like the 2000s. Like that was when she was a child.
Yeah.
Because if she's 20 in 94, yeah, it'd be like the 70s. And that's her like protection almost. Is that why we started late to the party? Like, not to get super like deep and like meta or whatever, but
maybe shaped us into the weirdos that we are. Oh my god,
you know, we're just Vicky with our Charlie's Angels lunchbox.
Truly, yeah.
Or at least on a lesser degree, we're Ethan Hawke saying like every 1970s slogan. But also, I wonder, like, is it almost like a rite of passage in your 20s to be nostalgic for your childhood? Or are like 20-somethings always nostalgic for the time when they were kids? Or because we were born in the 90s, do we just have like this affinity for the 90s?
We have to, right? I mean,
but not because we remember it and we like we're having our glory years, but because it's just like,
I think it's like what people talk about that time, or like maybe the media like consuming things from that time, maybe that just maybe part of it. Maybe we all long for it's interesting how we all do that. Like maybe times were easier or simpler, but are they?
Maybe that's the idea.
Yeah.
You know, like if they're 20 in this film or like 24 or whatever in 1974, the character of Vicky isn't going to remember that because she was just a baby.
Mm-hmm.
Like we don't remember the 90s really, but like that like comfort in the before times, the before you were actually like whatever, like all the stories you hear from your parents when you're super young. Mm-hmm. That are kind of, I don't know, when you're in that world, in that bubble, it's almost like comforting.
Yeah.
In a weird way.
Yeah. Do we all just want to be in a bubble?
Yeah. And we view that time because it's so close to a time we can remember, but still so far away, as like, that was a better time. Because we actually can't fully like be in our bodies in it and feel the things.
Yeah. You can, there's a lot of space to imagine. you can let your mind run wild. You know, like it's because if you weren't fully there, like you can just imagine what it would be like, and it's probably going to be a little more glamorous in your mind.
Yeah. Well, and it's like you can't really put yourself, like we don't know what it was like before World War II.
No.
But we can like feel in our bones maybe 1999.
Yeah. Feel a little.
Do you know what I
little
mean? Like
something.
maybe it's like a ping if like we were alive.
We were alive. We may not have been
living, but we were alive.
Yeah, it's like when you see those like postcards or whatever, like those books, it's like, oh, the year you were born, like these songs were out, like not Bohemian, but I don't know what was out. Who was it? UB40?
Definitive song. Bohemian.
Who let the dogs out? Is that Bohemian?
Yeah.
But you know what I'm saying? And you're like,
Lou Bega's Mambo No. 5.
It's like you've always heard Mambo No. 5, but you've never thought about it being around.
Yeah.
At the, I don't know.
Yeah.
I think there's
like,
something to it.
Yeah. I know what you mean.
Like, I don't know. We're woven into the culture. We're all just, I don't know. I can't be like Ethan Hawke. He's so articulate.
There has to be something about that, though. And I think something about being in your 20s and feeling like, I mean, always. You're always the oldest you've ever been and the youngest you've ever been.
At all times.
But I think, like, that is something to think about. Like, being in our 20s and creating Late to the Party.
Mm.
And then looking at Vicky with her, like, 70s nostalgia.
Yeah.
And being like, we're just capturing.
Yeah. Sometimes it feels like, oh, it's like a special thing, but maybe everyone does it.
Yeah.
That, you know, maybe everyone just craves that. I don't know. The idea of simpler times or just that. I think, yeah, like it must be comforting. You know, like sometimes I'll watch like old TV shows that weren't even around in my time, but just because, like, you know, when I was living with my aunt and uncle, like it would just be on the Lawrence Welk show. I wasn't, you know, like that's a long time ago, but it's comforting.
Like a Nick at Night or like a TV Land Kid.
Oh,
like, of course. Like I watch Three's Company all the time.
I Love Lucy.
Yeah. But you know, there's a scene in this film where like the four leads are just like smoking and like playing drinking games or cards or whatever, and they're watching Good Times.
Mm-hmm.
And it made me think about us. Like just like, well, any social gathering, you know, and just that like commonality. That's what it made me think about, like being like just 20 somethings love to have a shared reference.
Yes.
Like, you know what I mean? Like
sharing a reference is a big deal. Yes.
I'm sure any age loves a shared reference, but there is something to being in your 20s and sharing a reference.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that makes any sense.
Yeah, no, when you're with your friends and you can just, I mean, I feel like we do that all the time.
Like post-college, though? Like, or like even in college?
Mm-hmm.
I remember like being in college and just like if you found someone that also watched a TV show when you were a kid and it would just hit different. Like you found your like
people,
your tribe. Yeah. It's so weird and so tribal. It's so weird. I know this is like so deep for an episode on Reality Bites.
I know. I love how I did not expect it.
Yeah, I'm so sorry.
No, it's okay. These are great questions. Who knew this movie would bring up so many questions for us in this podcast?
What did you think about the nostalgia in this movie?
I mean, yeah, I think it's cool to see that it's a relatable thing. Like maybe every generation does this. Like, because I think about our generation, and it's just so easy to be nostalgic for things when you're a kid. I don't know. I mean, do people ever grow out of nostalgia?
I wonder.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like I don't hear like a lot of people. Well, no, that's a lie. Like I feel like I see a lot of, most of the podcasts I listen to are 40-year-old men talking about being nostalgic for either the 90s or the 80s or, you know, whatever.
Mm-hmm. But maybe we're always going to be nostalgic for our generation, like a certain you know, like maybe we'll always be nostalgic for the 90s, no matter how old we get.
Yeah.
Like when we're 90, are we going to be like, ah, the 90s?
I wonder.
Or maybe not. Maybe we'll be in the now.
Yeah. No, or are we going to be nostalgic for now?
Right now. Brat Girl Summer.
Yeah, no, because like, but that's the funniest thing. Like Gen X, of course they're nostalgic. When I hear, I spend a decent amount of time with Gen Xers. Your boyfriend he's
a Gen
X.
Yeah.
You know, he'll talk about the 90s,
Mhm.
like how I've idealized and over romanticized the 90s.
Like exactly how I thought.
Yeah, I'm like, yes,
I knew
this is the juice. But we're gonna look at 2020, I guess, and be like the Tiger King when I was in my 20s.
Oh my God, that's gonna be our reference.
You don't know about Harry Styles, or
We run into people on the streets when we're old and be like, "Do you remember the Tiger King?"
You had to be there. You're too young.
Oh my God, what does he say about? Oh gosh, there's like that whole song that they made. I think there's like a Tiger King song that makes fun. I don't know. Never mind.
Or I don't know any like reference. I'm like, I don't know. I can't even think of anything.
So Julia.
Yeah, we really are gonna be like, remember Brat?
Mm-hmm.
Everyone's gonna be like, that's so cool. I wish I was in 2024.
Right? Yeah. I can't wait to talk about Brat Girl Summer again.
Like when you're
episode.
Old or no?
No. Well, that too. Just throughout my life.
I remember Brat Girl Summer.
I like get up and shake my booty.
You just fell out of a coconut tree.
I can't stop. Oh my gosh. All those Kamala Harris memes or something.
Truly. Do we have any thoughts on the love triangle? So one of the central plots in this film is that Lainey is 23 and completely lost and wants to be a documentarian and like a filmmaker.
Yeah.
And she has all these goals and aspirations. She's just not quite there yet. And she doesn't want a real job, like a day job, because she wants to achieve her dreams. But she's also has like this love triangle between Michael, who's like a super yuppie played by Ben Stiller. He's like a TV exec, and Troy Dyer, her friend, who has 11 jobs that he has gotten fired from.
Oh, yeah.
And the first one, or the last one, is because he stole a Snickers bar. Because he said, damn the man, save the empire. And the empire was himself.
Okay. You got to do what you got to do. Snickers bar is there.
You gotta take it.
Yeah.
He was hungry. That's Brat. Troy Dyer is Brat.
Right. But I mean, it was like in an office, right? There's just Snicker bars.
It was a convenience store.
Oh.
Yeah. Or like a...
Or maybe this is your office.
A newspaper stand. A newspaper stand.
Oh, I can't keep up with all his
Yeah,
thoughts.
I still snack at the office job.
Not to put you on blast like that.
Well, truly, yeah.
Yeah.
Damn the man. I'm a little Troy.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
I'd be snacking. Oh, but what, the love triangle?
Yes. Yeah, thoughts on the love triangle.
It's fun. I mean, I love a good love triangle in general. I think Lainey and Troy make a lot more sense than her and Michael. I think Michael means well. But I think ultimately Troy can relate more. Like, he's known Lainey for a long time. They're friends. They're both creative people. Like, he probably understands her vision for this, like, this documentary she's making. Whereas, like, Michael, like, they're so different. Like, he basically is like, yeah, you should sell out. Like, just think of all the things that could happen. And I mean, it's like on one hand, maybe, but like the way that they chop up her movie is insane.
Oh my gosh. So yeah, it's like a parody on MTV, but it's called In Your Face TV. And yeah, can we talk about the way that they chop up this documentary of Lainey's?
I kind of loved it in a way. Like, it made me laugh And it really did look like Jersey Shore, like the intro.
It's like 90s Jersey Shore.
Yeah. I could hear Snooki go, "I'm going to the shore, bitch," at the end. Like, it's so, like, all that crazy text. And
the stiller cut, as I like to call it, is fun. And I would love to see an episode of that.
mm-hmm.
But yeah, it wasn't. It like left all the heart on the cutting room floor. That's for sure.
Yeah.
And I think you're right that Michael, Ben Stiller's character, means well. Because he does see that Lainey has these dreams and wants to make it happen for her.
Yeah.
And takes it kind of upon himself to make things happen for her. But I guess when it's not in your own hands,
yeah,
there's a lot that can be misconstrued.
Yeah, well, because it wasn't even in his hands at that point. He was like, "Well, I don't know. I didn't watch it. I didn't look at it. I didn't know what it was going to turn out to be."
No. Well, because he handed it off. He was like, "I got this." And
yeah. Which I think was, probably shouldn't do in a way. Like when someone, I don't know. I think also if you're like, when you're really young, like you're making like, maybe this is like her first documentary or something. Like this is her first big project.
And it's her and her friends.
Yeah.
It's her life. I think she says that.
Yeah. She says a lot of things. She chews them out pretty much.
The monologues, both Ethan Hawke and Winona Ryder, when they're angry, like I love that it like even spikes the mic when they're yelling at each other.
Mm-hmm.
Like in these really heated, either when Winona Ryder's telling Ben Stiller's character off, or Ethan Hawke and Winona Ryder are just like getting into it. It feels intense.
It does.
And I love it.
I love it too. They almost like, yeah, they match each other's energy, I think, and they're both just so passionate about their craft or what, just all that passion just erupts. And then they're trying not to feel things, I think, for each other. And then there's all the like rejection that, I don't know. There's like a lot of back and forth.
Like push and pull for sure.
Yeah. The push and pull dynamic. Like when he gets that booty call just to make her jealous. I'm pretty sure that's what he was doing. But
yeah, I think he was trying to make her jealous.
Yeah.
I think that Troy likes to toy.
Troy likes to toy.
Yeah, with Lainey. And I think Lainey also likes to toy with him. She said some really brutal things to him.
She did.
She was basically like, "You're going to end up like your deadbeat dad." And
oh, yeah. And he was dead.
Or he was dying at that point.
That was really messed up to say, actually. I think she went a little too far.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't know if he said anything quite that. I mean, they both said things, but that was like, whoa.
Definitely. I love Ethan Hawke and where I should probably say their character name, but Troy and Lainey go on this like walk together and have coffee, and he's like, "You and me and $5. Good conversation. That's all we need."
It's really cute.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like anyone that says that is,
you kind of have my heart at that point.
Yeah. I'm like, they're a keeper.
And they even like when Michael takes Lainey to the premiere of the documentary, when she's looking like a doily.
Yeah.
I think it's really interesting that Michael tells Troy, "I can like take care of her in a way you can't."
Yeah.
And I'm like,
is that just money? Because
what does money that mean? I can make her dreams come true. Which power dynamics, man.
Yeah, they both, kind of.
Like, I guess Troy has more emotional manipulation over her, but like to toy with your dreams. Which one's worse?
Wait.
Well, Michael has her dreams.
Yeah.
And Troy kind of can toy with her emotionally.
That's true.
So maybe they're both trash. Maybe she should just be single and hang out with Vicky and Steve's on.
Yeah. Oh, there was that scene in the diner where Vicky's like, "I'm giving up men." Remember that?
Yes.
That was funny. And then it was serious. And then it was funny again.
Yes. When Vicky's like, "I don't want to end up like a character on Melrose Place." And then Lainey's like, "Sometimes the dialogue's really good."
Yeah.
I love that levity in a moment of... Actually, that's when you know you have a good friend, when you're down in the dumps and you can pull a joke.
Yeah. And it just hits.
Yes. Also, a good friend will sing "Tempted" by Squeeze in the car with you.
It's true. Yeah.
It was funny. I was watching this movie with my fiance, and he was like, "That's like you and Brie in the car."
It's true. We do that. It's hard to resist sometimes. Your song comes on.
You gotta jam.
It's like every time we're in the car, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
We've just never flicked anything into someone else's car.
Not yet.
Not yet, but
Never caused a wreck.
yeah.
Yet.
Not yet.
Speaking of music, Brie,
Mm.
this soundtrack is, dare I say it, iconic, but also just so eclectic.
It is. There's like a wide range of songs here.
My favorite scene in the whole entire film, the classic Reality Bites scene, is the gas station. The My Sharona scene.
Yeah.
Like, I just love the idea because it's just such a thing. It's just a relatable thing to like go to the gas station late at night. And Lainey has this like gas card from her parents. So it's like the only money she has.
Mm-hmm.
But they just hear their jam. They hear My Sharona and they just have to like dance.
Yeah. They're like, excuse us, sir. We've got to dance.
Turn it up.
Yeah. I mean, no one else is really in there. Who cares?
Like, I love that. You should always dance like no one's watching anyways.
Yeah.
No, that's
I know. When was the last time you've
fun.
done that?
I know. Because we haven't heard My Sharona in a gas station.
Never in a gas station.
No. We've heard bops and had to have been like, we've paused
Yeah.
the world for a second.
That's true. The closest thing I can think of, this is funny thinking of it now because it's not, I mean, it's like a bop, but it's like a slow bop, like Young and Beautiful.
Yeah.
Lana Del Rey. Like that song we've My Sharona'd to many a
truly.
times. But I'm having trouble thinking. Well,
It's just any song for us, I think.
yeah. The moment has to just be right.
I love during that scene, Ethan Hawke is like in the foreground and just like he does this like weird, like wonky smile to the cashier.
Mm-hmm.
Just like kind of embarrassed, kind of like laughing. It's like super fun. Also, I feel super influenced. I love Winona Ryder's hair and her vest.
Oh, yeah.
I want a vest.
Invest.
Invest in a vest.
Invest in a vest.
But no, that just seems like perfectly encapsulates a moment
Yeah.
that we've all had.
Yeah.
Do you have any favorite scenes in Reality Bites?
I love when she flicks the cigarette into Ben Stiller's car. It's so much funnier on the second watch. And then also when she knocks over that like figurine in his office.
Yeah.
Like she's like, whoa. Like, she's like, whoops.
I love that Michael's trying to play it cool and was like, oh yeah, that doesn't mean a lot to me.
He's like sobbing on the inside. You could tell.
Yes.
Oh.
I do love the idea of Michael's inner world being like, he's a lot cooler. Like when he rolls up when they're singing Tempted in the car, he rolls up listening to like gangster rap.
Yeah, it's really funny actually, that scene.
Like he might be low-key cool. Also, I do love the fact that Selling Out is associated with rock music, but also rap music, especially in the context of the 90s.
Huh.
Because of all the authenticity and the integrity and like the undertones of like selling out and race. Not to get into that, but it is interesting that Michael's blasting rap music.
Yeah. But what is that? Like the opposite of selling? Like, does rap represent selling out?
Well, rap
in a
is
way?
at in the 90s, rap is at like a precipice because it's getting more mainstream. But then like, especially in the later 90s, you're like dealing with like your Puff Daddies and
True.
like that's selling out because rap is about your life experience.
That's a good point. I just feel like we have like, I feel like rap music is so big now that
Mhm.
it's weird to think about the idea. I don't know.
I mean, it was like fairly new genre, especially in the early 90s.
Yeah.
It's basically like, as far as Selling Out goes, it's like the Kendrick versus Drake.
Yeah.
beef.
Like if you're not singing, like if you're not coming from a place of authenticity with your rap, like it might,
You're sold
you're
out.
selling out. Yeah.
Yeah. That's why Kendrick Lamar won the beef.
Yeah.
Because Drake sold out.
It's so true.
And
Yeah.
not just musically, like, as far as like,
just all
race.
around.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I know another favorite scene is when John Mahoney, like when she gets him fired from his job and she's like writes, because she's the one that does all the cue cards and he doesn't bother to ever like research any of his guests that come onto a show. So he's very like he's kind of ignorant and kind of cocky, I think.
Yes.
And he's just like, do all this work for me. Like, doing like extra. I think she's doing extra things that I don't even know if it's part of her job title. I just have a feeling. But I'm like, yeah, you know what? The disrespect. Like when she's like tells him what to say and he gets like canceled on live TV. I think it's hilarious because he's not thinking for himself. So he's not like thinking about what he's saying. So it's just like,
I love how he starts and he says, because throughout like every card he pulls, it gets worse and like more like defamatory.
Yeah.
And he doesn't like until halfway through stop pulling the card, so it just gets worse and worse.
Right.
And worse.
He says something offensive to the lady like immediately, but he's like, okay, well, whatever. I'll just say the next card, I guess. And
it keeps going and going. Yeah.
I thought that was a fun bit.
Agreed. Also just love John Mahoney in anything.
Yeah.
Like if he's in a film, it's gonna be a fun scene.
Totally. Did you have any favorite scenes?
Okay. I love Lainey's quarter life crisis, mainly because I can relate to it so much. But also, I can really relate to... So when she is jobless and she's on the couch, she racks up the phone bill because she's giving love advice to the psychic that she calls from the TV.
I actually love this scene, too.
I'm just like, I've never been seen so much on screen.
She starts out like calling, like she sees an ad, right? And just calls in and is like, "Whoa, this is my problems." And then like fast forward, it's hilarious to hear her talk to the psychic. Like she's like, "Okay, girlfriend, I'll talk to you later." Or
yes.
Like, "Oh no, really? That happened? Like, here, let me give you advice now." Like she was in deep in that crisis.
Totally.
But also phone bills were crazy. Like the paying for
I don't know. Is it by minute? Because it was a $400 phone bill.
Yeah. Or is it like certain numbers? Like it's I don't know.
I don't know how that works.
I don't know how that works, but Spency apparently.
I know. Just racking it up. We talked about mainly everything except now this movie is great.
Mm-hmm.
Like a perfect film. Such a comfort watch. Such a great film about being in your 20s. It's just perfect. But the most perfect thing is when it ends.
The Lisa Loeb. Yeah.
When Stay by Lisa Loeb comes on. Whew, that's the goods.
We have Ethan Hawke to thank.
Yes.
For that song being included in the soundtrack.
Not Ben Stiller?
Not Ben Stiller, no. I redact that statement from the episode that no one will ever hear.
False information.
Yeah.
But yeah, Ethan Hawke recommends Lisa Loeb, right?
Right. Yeah, they were friends. And he just, I guess, really loved that song. He's like, this should be on here. And then it topped the charts for a while afterwards. And she wasn't even signed yet. So, and that doesn't happen a lot when you're unsigned. You don't get to be number one on the Billboard.
No. And also this is like the song when you think of Reality Bites. Like long before I saw this film, I know the Reality Bites song was Stay by Lisa Loeb, which now is like such a classic, like women in rock in the 90s. Like this movie created such a classic song. And created Lisa Loeb.
It created her. Yeah, basically.
Her and her fabulous glasses.
Love it.
Yeah, as soon as the film ended and I heard Stay, like you just I know all the words to that song. I feel like Jess and the pilot of New Girl, just making everyone listen to her sing Stay. But it's just a bop.
It is. No, it is. I feel like we don't, as a society, listen to it enough.
No, I mean, it's just, yeah, it's a perfect song.
Yeah.
And I really thank Ethan Hawke for doing the Lord's work. Because it really is perfect. We'll talk about this more. We're going to have an episode. It'll already have passed. We had an episode on Lilith Fair.
Yes.
Come out. So I'll speak more on my feelings about the Lilith Fair genre, if you will.
For sure.
But it's shaped me as a person. It's molded me in so many ways.
No, but it's cool to see it in this film, like this being a seminal moment for her. Like because I feel like we're already so familiar. And I'm like, oh my God, this is where it started. Like this film of all films.
It's so good.
Yeah. Reality Bites should be in the Criterion.
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know. Think about it.
If it ever becomes like obsolete in any way, like can you get Reality Bites on Blu-ray?
I don't know.
Like how easily accessible is Reality Bites? So you can buy a Reality Bites Blu-ray, but you know what? If Universal Pictures ever, I don't know, if something ever happens where we can't get Reality Bites, put it in the Criterion.
Yeah. Wait, what do you mean? Like they stopped making... Wait, what do you mean?
Well, that's like one of the things about being in the Criterion Collection is like, that's like the origins of the Criterion Collection is like...
What, that they keep creating it if needed?
Yeah, like if they don't have a distributor, it's like a way to keep film alive.
Like they would like distribute it themselves?
Yeah,
like,
that's why most things are in the Criterion Collection.
Oh, see, I didn't know this. I just thought it was a collection, like just like it goes into like the Hall of Fame.
Oh, no. Okay, well, kind of like Art House Film Hall of Fame. Technically, it's a home video distribution company that focuses on licensing, restoring, and distributing important classic and contemporary films. It serves film and media scholars, cinephiles, and public and academic libraries. It helped to standardize certain aspects of home video releases, such as film restoration, the letterboxing format for widescreen films, and the inclusion of bonus features. So if they ever had to or felt the need to do a Blu-ray, or not a Blu-ray, a Criterion of Reality Bites, I need some more Lisa Loeb.
More.
I need some more Ethan Hawke. I need some good special features.
Yeah, I didn't realize they're the reason why special features exist on our DVDs, or they just have access to special ones from these films.
Yep, they have access to special ones. Have you ever owned a Criterion?
No.
Blu-ray?
I have not.
Well, one day we should do a deep dive or not a deep dive, but like we have Blue Velvet on Criterion. We also have The Virgin Suicides.
Ooh. But
there's just so many goods. Mulholland Drive we also have on Criterion.
I've never seen that.
So it's just so much more expansive. The Others.
Don't get me excited, Nick. Don't
another
Nicole Kidman.
Yes, The Others is on the Criterion Collection.
That was a good follow-up.
Yeah,
I was about to be very disappointed if you said something other than The Others.
Yes, but it is you are right. It is the Hall of Fame of sorts, but it's also about film restoration.
That's really cool. I actually love that, even more knowing that. I don't know. I've been under a rock a bit.
No,
I've just always heard of it, but I just literally thought it was a collection. I didn't know it was they also do all that, restoring and distributing. I get it. I just thought it was the idea of keeping them alive. They're actually putting in the work to keep film alive. Literally.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. And I think that's why it's so cool that there's the Criterion channel. And that's why I was so stoked about the Parker Posey collection.
Yeah.
It's because, you can see a lot of those films, but they're so much harder to House of Yes is pretty accessible, but Party Girl for a while, I had to watch it on YouTube.
Yeah.
Maybe a Chelsea Walls Criterion.
Maybe it will. I know. I'm sorry. And that YouTube was a little blurry. I thought it was the same quality. And then I realized, maybe it's not. It's only when Rosario Dawson close-ups come up that it is very crisp.
Well, to be honest, I watched half of Chelsea Walls in my YouTube video. And then I was just okay, this is really grainy. So they have the clips, still grainy, but they have clips of Chelsea Walls on YouTube that are a little more crisp. Not much. But the Rosario Dawson scene is very crisp.
Yeah, why is that one so crisp and the rest of the film is so great? And I get film grain. I love that. Yeah. But it's some of it's so fuzzy. But when she pops on the screen, it's crisp.
I literally had to check it a couple times.
Yeah.
Because I was is this the same film? Because the quality was so drastically different.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know.
Criterion that.
Yeah. Right? Get on
I think
it.
the Before trilogies in the Criterion collection.
Ooh. Okay. Yeah. I want to see all of those, by the way. Just, I don't know.
Yeah.
For research, you know?
Same. I feel like I need to go down a Richard Linklater rabbit hole.
Yeah.
Because I've never seen Dazed and Confused.
Same.
Yeah.
I've been dazed and confused many times. Most days I'm confused.
I've Pinterest Parker Posey in that film so many times, but have I seen it? No.
Yeah. Huh.
Haven't seen Boyhood either.
I haven't either.
Really?
Mm-mm.
It's Ethan Hawke. But
That's true.
blind spots.
I feel so dumb. When I looked at when that came out in 2013, I was thinking that was like a couple years ago.
Oh.
I was like, oh, that movie was just made, but it wasn't.
Mentally.
Yeah.
I mean, they could be making a Boyhood too. Maybe you're just on a different wavelength. You don't know.
Maybe I can sense it.
You're like, they're doing the next 9 years. Actually, you might be picking up on a wavelength if it comes out like now.
Is that just like what Richard Linklater does?
No, Boyhood is. It actually shows the actors like growing up. Like I think they start filming in 2002.
Oh, like the actual actors.
Yeah. Like it is the actor boy's boyhood.
Huh.
That's why it was such like a feat.
That's a big foot.
It's a Bigfoot.
Yeah.
Richard Linklater's Bigfoot.
Wow.
Later.
I like that though. That's an interesting thing that the way he thinks of time. Yeah, we should circle back to this idea.
We should like watch the classics. You know what? That would actually, it's so funny after this episode, after we like have gotten so meta and like deep about why we created Late to the Party in our 20s and how it's just based on nostalgia for a time we're not nostalgic for.
Yeah.
And we're like, you know what? We're actually going to revisit or not visit the classics because we were late to the party on them.
Yeah.
We were going to watch some Criterion Collection because we haven't watched it.
That's true.
I wonder if there's a space for us in the podcast realm where we could watch both Clock Stoppers and Boyhood and the Before trilogy and Crossroads.
I think so. We're just trying to take Ethan Hawke's wisdom to, we're just trying to.
Yeah. A little lowbrow with the highbrow.
Yeah. A little bit of both. I think some lowbrow things too are actually sometimes low-key a little more highbrow.
I don't know how this will happen, but it must. You put me on to Norbit.
I put you on?
Like, I just thought it was a fun, like speaking of like movies from your childhood.
Nikki, you have not stopped talking about Norbit.
It's a great film.
I don't understand. Like, I thought I was the biggest fan of Norbit, but now I'm starting to feel like maybe you are.
I was surprised. I think that's why I've kept talking about it. It's because I didn't realize like the movie has heart. It has a great soundtrack.
It does.
It's funny.
It's the movie of our generation.
Yeah, maybe.
It'll be well regarded.
It's the Hannah Horvath of
the voice
cinema.
Of our generation. Oh,
Rasputin's the voice of our generation.
Yeah.
She started the whole treat yourself movement, I believe.
Truly, yeah.
Yeah.
She did. Yeah. I don't know. She's kind of inspirational in some ways. But
no, you put me on to things that I consider lowbrow just because I'm judging. Because like I'm on the wrong side of selling out where I'm just like a little pretentious. And you
like Lainey a little.
Yeah.
I feel like Lainey and Troy have that kind of, but that's also, I get that way too, to be honest, about things. Yeah.
What are you pretentious about?
I don't know. Probably like art stuff when it comes to art.
What's an example?
I don't know. Just knowing the classics, like just feeling like you should know some art history or something if you're going to make art. I don't know. Just not
like Banksy?
Like Banksy?
Sorry,
like the classics.
Well,
no, I think Banksy is actually I can appreciate him as an artist. I don't know if he's still controversial. I don't know. He doesn't really bother me. I mean, but like AI, I get like really like pretentious about like what is art. Like with AI art and stuff, I'm really, I don't know. I feel a type of way about that. I feel like
Gotcha.
that's selling out maybe in a way, because you're also not really creating it. Like, I get that people have ideas and can generate things, but it's like I feel like the computer's doing it.
If it's not your body, mind, and soul,
Yeah.
it isn't you.
I think you can maybe remix some things. I think there's like the gray area with that as well, maybe, but only so gray, because yeah.
What are your thoughts on Andy Warhol then?
I love Andy Warhol. I mean, I think he also changed the game with his pop art. Like, I think, you know, at the time, like, yeah, a lot. I love art that subverts. Or anything that's, you know, like in films too. Like, I love just that like concept, like Andy Warhol, like taking like the tomato soup can, for example, and just making prints of it, like colorful, you know, like just like an everyday object, like people saying that's not really art, like what are you doing? But it was. There's something with art and like pop culture too that I think is cool. Like, there's a relationship with it, you know, like just with media, like visual media, film, like there's like a ecosystem, I guess. And now I feel really smart. I'm like, I never say words like this.
But no, so yeah, I mean, it's interesting that there is like a fine line, like you're talking about, between like remixing it. Like, it's art and it's, you know, great when you look at like Andy Warhol, but you know, someone else that's also kind of doing, it's not exactly doing what he was doing, but it's interesting that like fine line between like what's good art and what's like not even.
Yeah, I think
in the
sometimes I
ballpark.
can get on my high horse about what's good art.
Word.
Yeah, that's my thing. But films, I don't know. I think it's a little less. I think I know a lot less about films, maybe, and that's kind of fun sometimes, because like through this podcast I can learn so much as well. So it's kind of, plus who doesn't love watching film? Like, I love consuming media and watching things. And as much as I'd like to be like someone who just reads books a lot, I don't know. I'd rather watch a movie.
I understand.
Not to be all like Matilda, you know, just
The anti-Matilda?
The anti-Matilda. Yeah, not like the movie Matilda. Not to be like Danny DeVito in Matilda.
Who produced Reality Bites?
That's what I wanted to talk to you about. Oh my god. I know this episode's so long, but that's okay.
I know. You're like the anti-Matilda. You're like, every time you watch Matilda, you're like, I love this bitch. And then you do everything. You're like, I'm like Matilda, right, guys?
But wait, no. She steals candy.
So does Danny DeVito. Are you closer to Rhea Perlman in Matilda? Or are you closer to Matilda?
Oh no. Yeah, that's a good point. Oh.
Some people choose books.
Some people choose looks. That's so true. Yeah. Huh.
But both can exist. You can be a Matilda in the world or a Danny DeVito.
Yeah. But see, they were like pretentious about, and now I'm just like, I'm getting into it. I could like have a whole full analysis on Matilda, probably. Just write one.
You know what? Danny DeVito, speaking of doing the Lord's work, like, goodness, that man was producing like a madman.
Jersey Films?
Yeah. What happened to Jersey Films?
I think they're still a thing. Maybe.
I think they stopped. Was it Death to Smoochie that was the death of Jersey Films?
Was it? In my mind, it's still alive, but I don't know. Death to Smoochie. Oh yeah, Aaron Brockovich, by the way. This is what I was going to share with you.
I think we talked about that in the Aaron Brockovich episode, but
Did we?
Still surprised.
I know. Yeah, we probably did, but I was surprised too when I saw that. I was like, it's just perpetually new anytime I see that.
True. I'm just the biggest DeVito stan.
Yeah. No, I'm
a DeVito dude.
DeVito dude. Oh, dude, I love Danny DeVito. Just, I don't know what it is. But yeah, it is cool that he does that too, like produces and well, he didn't write Matilda, I guess, but he wrote the screenplay, I guess, right? That's different. Like taking it from a book to screen.
So that's what Sofia Coppola does.
Yeah.
It is really nice circling back to Reality Bites. I do see a lot of myself in Lainey, including that pretension, but also in Ethan Hawke's backstage interview. That's God tier. you know, he does talk about essentially being the beginner.
Yeah.
And being okay with failure and rejection and just doing it anyways, just for the love of the game, essentially. He says it way better than that.
But that's pretty much what he says.
But that's the sentiment. And I think like Lainey, I think this film hits because like Lainey, I'm learning that right now.
Mm-hmm.
That like, you know, post-grad, you're not going to get the job you want. You're gonna have to grind, but also at any point you can pivot, you can have autonomy for your own work, you can choose not to sell out, you can stand up for yourself, and it's nice to see that reflected in film.
I wish I was more prepared. I wish I'd seen this film like earlier in life to be ready. I
feel like you need to see this film like as soon as you graduate.
Immediately. Graduation day, that night. Just go watch Reality Bites. And yeah.
And it's important to remember that at 23, all you have to be is yourself. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye. Late to the Party is hosted by Nikki Jensen and Brie Picconi. Our podcast is produced by Grace Dunbar and edited by Brie.
That's me. Thanks for listening. Make sure to rate and review us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. We'll see you next week. Bye.